So I thought this would make an interesting, albeit short, video talking about the Switch 2 and Trove. Now, first of all, I wanted to talk about the Joy-Cons being used as a mouse because it's one of the cooler features, I think, with this console. Obviously, the console does still accept USB mice in general, but if I take the Joy-Con and I put it sideways, even just on my pant leg, suddenly I've already got a mouse and I can just drag it across my leg or whatever. There's going to end up being some third-party things where this would like latch into it while still having its full functionality, because frankly speaking, holding the Joy-Con sideways like this is not the most ergonomic. But the fact that I can just do this right on the main menu got me really excited for the idea that a lot of different games would end up having mouse support. And especially a game like Trove, I started to really get excited about the idea of playing this on my Switch 2 and doing like a New Beginnings series where I start at the beginning of the game and I could kind of use mouse control, even though I'm still using the left Joy-Con to move my character with the joystick and stuff. But unfortunately, I found out the hard way that unless a game specifically supports it, meaning that a developer would have to go into the game's code at like a core level with the Switch 2 version explicitly, they have to set it up so that it actually takes advantage of this mouse control. Otherwise, it is not native to the actual games, which is really disappointing to me. And more so than the disappointment of Trove not supporting that, it makes me think that this is just going to end up being a gimmick that will die on the wayside because no games are going to end up supporting it. Like, for example, I was playing the classic Doom game with my cousin, and he bought the game on Switch 2. And of course, nope, no mouse control. And that's like a super classic shooter game. But anyways, I don't know how long it takes to implement something like that. I'm assuming it's just a little click switch type thing. But then, of course, it means that the game has to kind of support it. And the Switch version of Trove probably doesn't have mouse control working for the most part. But anyways, the big reason why I didn't end up doing any of this New Beginnings series, I've talked about in some other videos, is because looking at Trove on the Switch 2, it is basically just running the Switch 1 version of the game, but on the new hardware. Okay, cool. So you're telling me that I can just play this game and it'll just be steadier frame rate just because the system is more powerful? No, that's not actually the case, because if we log in, first of all, you can see that we're still on an older version of Trove. But if I end up logging in on Trove on the Switch 2, yeah, everything is invisible. You can see that the game still functions. It's just there's some type of graphical issue, whether it be like a memory leak or something. The other thing, too, that I'm noticing is the usernames and stuff are, I don't know, it's weird how they're like trying to kind of be like a flat image when I rotate the camera. But the fact still remains that obviously there's nothing rendering here, but it looks like it's going to end up being at a more steady frame rate. And the funny thing is that the UI elements and everything is still here. It's just the fact that the game itself is just virtually unplayable, which sucks because I ended up, like you look at, it's every 3D model in the game. Like here's a chest. Here's my inventory, which everything's invisible for whatever reason. All the UI elements are all working just fine. It's just everything else that just doesn't. And that's disappointing. So I did end up reaching out. I did let my contact, like my content creator contact, know about this. He passed it to the higher ups. Who knows when this will end up getting resolved. I just want to be able to play it on the Switch 2 in general. But then if the mouse support would work, that would be stupendous, because then I could just put the Joy-Con sideways and I could just start moving my camera around the same as I would on PC. Again, it wouldn't end up being a great solution, but it would still be pretty cool. In any case, the point of this video was just to let you guys know that this is going on. So for those of you that are like, oh, well, the Switch 1 version of the game is really far behind and stuff like that. Yeah, if you sold your Switch 1 and you just happen to want to play Trove on your Switch 2, well, like me, you're kind of screwed. There's nothing I can do. But on top of that, maybe this will end up getting a little bit more attention so that, I don't know, somebody could be like, oh, that's weird, and maybe something will get done about it. I highly doubt it. But in any case, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Smash like, sub for more. This was just a short little experimentation video just to show you this is a thing and it kind of blows.